26 Edward Street. The variances being, I should say, the proposal in general is for a townhouse building. It's roughly 6,921 square feet in footprint area. It's for six principal townhouse dwelling units, and future second units are proposed in each of those principal dwellings. The variances are connected to those proposed future second units, and the variance being requested to relate to lot coverage due to just some changes to the design since the official plan and zoning amendments were approved for this application previously. Also to accommodate driveway width sufficient to accommodate future second units. So specifically, they're increasing maximum permitted lot coverage, all buildings and structures for units 2, 3, and 4 on the site plan from 40 to 46.8%, and also to increase the permitted lot coverage for unit 5 from 40% to 46.7%. And then in regard to off-street parking requirements, we're increasing the maximum permitted driveway width from 50% to a maximum of 6 meters to not more than 90% or 5.4 meters of the width of the front yard. We have comments from the Tonabee Regions Conservation Authority stating no concern. And we have comments from Jill Archer opposed, public comment opposed to the application. I find that the application meets the 4 tests of a minor variance, and I do recommend the application for approval. Those are my comments.
Very much. So, I understand there are application is the agent online.
Yes, Vanessa Archer.
Yeah. All right. Vanessa, do you have anything you wish to add to the planner's report?
Through you, Vanessa Archer from TD Consulting, the applicant, for the record. I don't really have anything additionally to add. I did speak briefly with Per through an email this morning. There was a condition that was listed for an ORCA permit, but he has advised that that's not actually part of the recommendation through council. It was just in the report, so that's cleared up. And I'm just here if there's any additional questions or concerns about the reliefs that are being sought.
Is there anyone else here that's in favor of this application? Is there anyone that is opposed to this application? I'd like to speak. None, I will bring it to you for any questions. Member Boyle.
Thank you. Through you, Per mentioned that there's a comment in opposition. What was that comment?
Through you, Madam Chair. So just let me get that. So the opposition comments dated May 14th says, I'm particularly concerned about increased traffic and parking pressures in the area, reduced green space and increased hard surfaces, noise pollution, potential drainage and stormwater runoff impacts due to increased lot coverage, loss of privacy and overall impact on neighboring properties, and the precedent level of intensification may be set within the neighborhood. Within my report to the committee, I have addressed those comments, and those would have been addressed as per the land use approvals for the proposed development. Specifically, the official plan amendment was file 15 OP 210114, and zoning bylaw application was townships file C17-21, which were both passed in 2022. And there would have been supporting reports for those in regard to the proposed land use.
Any other questions? Member Blau.
Thank you, Chair. The changes to the driveway dimensions, the 90 or 56 and so on. That was to increase the width of the driveway to allow for additional parking for the second.
Through you, Madam Chair, correct. So by zoning regulation, in order to accommodate parking for a second unit, you can't have a 3-stack. It can only be a 2-stack. So this amendment allows to increase the width of the driveway to accommodate one side-by-side parking space in addition to a stacked parking space for a total of 3. So you get 2 for the main dwelling unit and 1 for the second unit.
So what does that do to, again, from a drainage point of view, we haven't had more hard surfaces, there's not a lot of water absorbing area left. Certainly, that's all.
I can add some comments, but I see Robert is ready here to add some comments.
For you, Councilmember or
Chair.
Chair, Senates, because this residential development is less than 11 residential units, it's exempt from site plan control, which is where we would derive the ability to regulate stormwater management on these sites. So our only controls with regard to site drainage and stormwater control are the limited amounts of control that are found in Ontario Building Code with regard to ensuring that drainage is taken away from the foundation and it's directed onto the adjacent properties.
Seeing none, we'll move on to the next application, A for 26. There. Here, virtually.
We do, Madam Chair, but if we could just hold one moment, we're having some issues with audio. If you could just give me a second, and then we'll get Bruno. Speak one more.
Anyone else here to speak in favor of the application while we're waiting for the audio? Right. You go to the microphone and give us your name and address, please, sir.
Douglas Gray, 1860 Westwind Lane. Just more of a character witness. Bruno is a fantastic neighbor. There's 11 of us on the street. He helps everybody except for one person. And we all get along except for one person. So,
Is there anyone else here that should speak in favor of the application? Wait, 1, 2. Actually, Dan is in favor of that.
Yeah,
So
and
we'll wait to see where we get him. Yeah.
Yeah. If I, sorry, just before we get started with that, if I could just remind all council members to speak directly into their mics. They know the system and it really, you need to speak right into the mic. So Bruno is available. Bruno, if you have anything to say.
Thank you, Madam.
Sorry.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, no, I am the applicant. I'm here just to really answer any questions. I'd missed Pear's introduction of the application, but it is minor in nature. I want to maintain my setback from the water as it stands today. 2 minor setbacks from the side yards of 1 foot 4 inches, and really the coverage is just a matter of as I age and I want to make Selwyn my forever place. I want to actually place a bungalow, hence the footprint is a bit larger for a bungalow, and that's the 7% increase in coverage. So The request before the committee, I do agree are minor in nature, and I'm really here to answer any questions that the committee may have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Is there anyone here speak against this application? Please go to the microphone, ma'am.
Hello, I am Barb Hobbins and I have a cottage at 1856 West Wind Lane in Sutherland Township. This cottage has been in my family for more than 70 years. I recently received a notice that my next door neighbor, Bruno Bianco, is planning to build a 3,300 square foot permanent home where his 600 square foot cottage is now. This is nothing personal against Bruno, but there are rules. Under Section 45 of the Ontario Planning Act, any proposed minor variant to a local municipal zoning bylaw must satisfy all 4 tests before a local committee of adjustment can approve it. I've read the 4 tests and feel this building does not satisfy 2 requirements. Is the variance minor? The requested deviation must be small and created non-unacceptable adverse impact or negative consequences for neighboring property. I strongly object to this project. These cottages lots are single size and a house that size will overpower the lot and the neighborhood. Everyone in the neighborhood will be affected by the house being built. Any large home in the neighborhood is on a double lot or bigger and are not nearly as big and don't overpower the lot like this building will. I have been told this construction will have a negative impact on my property value. This is not a minor variance. It will strongly affect my property value and all properties in the neighborhood. You're going to allow the increasing in the maximum lot coverage of all building constructions from 20% to 27%. How do you break the rules for certain people and not others? This is a huge increase. This house is far too big for the lot size. Why are the rules written and then you break them when someone has money? In order to get the size of house, you're decreasing the amount of side yard. This is not minor variance. It's making the neighbors even closer than they are now. You're making access to the lake harder by decreasing the side yard. This is not minor. I do like to get some sunshine and breeze in my yard and a nice view. That is why I have a cottage to get out of the city. This variance will negatively impact all these things. For this huge house, where is the furnace, air conditioning unit, propane tanks, generators, etc. going to be? Do the neighbors have to listen to the noise so close to their property or look at them? Don't install any on this side facing my property. Where is the parking for cars, boats, trailers, etc.? This is no minor variance. It will strongly impact everyone. The septic system, where is it going to be? So it doesn't affect my wells and property. Bruno's septic system is just up the hill from my well. With a big house, the runoff will be directed down towards it. My dug well is down in front of my property and Bruno's well is only a few feet away. With this size of house, his dug well will not be able to maintain his water needs. Will my well go dry if it's on the same water source? What about contamination from construction, infill, and drainage? This is not minor. This construction can negatively affect the future for mine and neighbors' properties. What is going to happen to the single lane road when all the machinery and construction equipment supplies come in? In the past, my laneway has been damaged before from trucks using it to turn around because there isn't room for trucks to turn near our end of the road. I'm worried about excessive flooding. For as long as I can remember, we have had water issues from the road, flooding down on our property. It is well known by us all. Multiple things have been done to help prevent and reroute the water so properties and buildings are not flooded. But we still have water runoff problems. I've added crushed stone to my gravel laneway so as to help prevent rain and spring runoff from washing out my laneway, which has happened many times. Robbie Gibson has tried very hard to help, slanting the road towards the field behind my cottage and using his tractor wheel to dig a ditch to try and direct water away from down on all our properties. Any rain, the road is a mud hole. Behind 1852 Bruno's property is a low spot, and in the spring it cools and runs down around his cottage and runs to the lake to the corner of my lot and his. This big of a house, where is the water going to go? No land to absorb runoff. This is not a minor problem. On lot 1848, there's a culvert and drainage ditch running down the south side of Jan Warren's property, the whole length of it, to the lake to try and divert the water, but it doesn't fix it all. There is so much water. Jan Warren still gets water in her basement in the spring. The next property, Savard, 1844, over many years have flooded the entire basement of their house several times. This has happened to the people before them and the people before that. Savard still get flooding with this drainage ditch. I'm very worried about the building such a huge house will make the water go to the properties on each side and cause flooding. I do not want my property lower than Bruno's, as it will cause issues. There has to be consideration for spring flooding. I do not want a drainage ditch going down the side of my property. After the floods this year, I have considerable erosion on my shoreline near the lot between Bruno's property and mine. Bruno's new ironstone wall that was constructed this winter protected his property, but mine has taken the brunt of the new shape and extension of his ironstone wall. I am now being forced to do something about my shoreline at a considerable cost to me. So new construction has its drawback. You have rules for how many meters of feet from shoreline, but for certain people, you change the rule. And same for the footage of side yards. Why make rules when certain people you break them? The new building is said to be 22.6 meters from the shoreline. Is this the original shoreline or the new shoreline? That was put in place this past winter. The ironstone, which are several feet farther out into the water than the original shoreline. Has this wall construction been legally done? For over 70 years, my family and myself have paid our taxes and have thought that Selwyn Township would look after our best interests, but this instance, I see the township is only looking at the tax dollars they will bring in and not what it will do to the entire neighborhood. Number two, is the variance desirable for the appropriate development or use of land, building, or structure? The proposed change must make sense for the property and fit harmoniously into surrounding neighborhood context. This isn't fair to the little people who just want a quiet vacation home to spend quality time with their family. Have you really investigated as to what the impact will be on the surrounding area and property? Do you actually go out and look at the area and visualize what this construction will do to the entire area, not just look at it on paper? This is not desirable for the appropriate development or use of the land. This house is too big, does not fit in the small community we live in. Have you talked to all the neighbors and shown what is really going to be done, how it will impact their properties and the value of their properties? This development will not fit harmoniously into the surrounding neighborhood context. As I've tried to show that this minor variance does not pass two tests that are required to approve this application. You want a big house like this, go buy a lot that is big enough to fit it and abide by the rules that are set out by Selwyn Township. Thank you.
Thank you.
It is not against Bruno. I have no things. I believe in rules and laws. Don't break laws.
Thank you. Who would like to tackle some of the questions that Ms. Hobbins had?
Yeah, I can try and answer some of the aspects points that were raised, Madam Chair. With regard to property values and some of the aesthetics concerns, as I've stated before at Committee of Adjustment, the Ontario Land Tribunal has repeatedly stated that these are not valid planning concerns for consideration by the Committee of Adjustment. With regard to stormwater management, I would say that for small scale development on a single lot, Those are reviewed through the Ontario Building Code requirements around just surrounding lot grading and drainage around the dwelling at building permit stage, as well as the Conservation Authority does that review as part of their permitting review to an extent. The Conservation Authority is requiring a permit, as I stated at the beginning of the presentation for this particular lot. With regard to parking, the proposed dwelling meets the required setback, so there should be no problem in having sufficient parking for the development. And to the lot, there is also an attached garage for storage of vehicles proposed for this dwelling. So parking should not be an issue at all. What else here is, with regard to septic system, it will be relocated. And again, this is a building permit stage question. The building department will review the size of the proposed septic and location to comply with Ontario Building Code requirements. With regard to the well and water supply, it's not a municipal matter to review those as part of building or planning reviews, especially for a small scale development such as this. For obviously for larger scale development where you have municipal water supply, we would be reviewing capacity in our system for those. With regard to setback from septics to wells, that's under an Ontario Building Code as well for protection of water quality. Let's see here. Erosion, the Armor Stone Wall issue was raised. That's not, again, a municipal matter. That's Trent Severn Waterway and or the Conservation Authority with regard to site alteration. It's not a municipal matter to look to. It's a landscaping matter, essentially, site alteration matter, neither of which is under Selwyn jurisdiction. I think that pretty much answers everything that I had notes about. If Robert is ready to add a couple things, if there's further questions, I can take those if there's any further clarification needed.
Perhaps you can speak to our breaking rules.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, certainly. We're certainly not breaking the rules. There are Planning Act provisions for people to be able to apply for relief from our zoning regulations, which such as what we're here today for. The zoning regulations is like a starting point. Here's what you can do if you don't want further review. If you want to do something outside of zoning regulations, submit your plans and we'll consider them as sort of the way the Planning Act is flexible in that regard.
Robert?
Through you, Chair, I just wanted to further elaborate on concerns with regard to stormwater management and control of water on this site. This site's small enough that will trigger the requirement for an engineered lot grading plan to ensure that the site's designed to good engineering standards to ensure that the adjacent properties aren't impacted by this development.
Very much. Is there anyone else here that is not in favor of this application? All right, I'll bring it to committee. Are there any questions? Member Koulis.
Through you, thank you. On the site plan, it says existing bunkie and existing shed, and then it says existing shed and bunkie to be relocated. Do we know where they're going to be relocated?
Not at this point. I think Bruno would need to provide us some further details on that to make sure that relocation is compliant with zoning.
That can happen, and that's required at another stage, I should clarify.
Yeah, so maybe you can speak to this in regard to the building code requirement for essentially a reconstruction. What is?
Through you, Chair. The relocation of the building constitutes construction under the building code, and any relocation would be subject to the requirements for building permits for those structures. So that'll be addressed at permitting stage to be included. Condition.
So I don't have a condition right now for the relocation specifically. Other than we're not addressing any particular release because a relocated site has not been provided to us. But should there be relief required, we would have to come back to the committee again with the relief that may or may not be needed.
One more follow-up. It's through, more of like a question. On the site plan, it says Orca food contour, it's the flood. Is this okay to accept as is with typos and such, or do we have to ask for it to be uploaded?
Through you, Madam Chair. Yeah, it's sufficient. It's a concept plan. It has been professionally prepared. It is a typo. I recognize that. We saw that as well. But it's fine for approval at minor variance stage.
I'm not excited. Thank you.
Member Black,
Thank you, through your chair. Couple of questions. Does the lot coverage increase include the accessory buildings that are currently on the site?
Pretty much. To my recollection, I think I did, yeah, but I'd have to get back to you on that to confirm that question.
The other question with, speaker talking about special, circumstances for individuals. Could you talk about the bylaw that allows, you to build no closer to, the high water or the shoreline? Because that's been pretty standard around as people are moving to the area, removing their cottage and building permanent homes, they're allowed to build as close to the lake as the cottage was. Could you just cover that one, please?
Certainly. So there is official plan policy in regard to existing structures that are not compliant with the general provision for 30-meter setback for structures from the shoreline. So the idea is that where there's an existing structure, that particular rule was put in place in 2008 in our official plan and then followed up in 2009 and implemented through current zoning. So where there's an existing structure that were legal at the time, that setback it continues to be legal with any replacement or structures or expansion of an existing structure permitted, provided there's no further encroachment towards the lake. And we review for that with minor variance applications as they come in to substantiate what the existing is and to ensure that there's a design for the expansion or replacement dwelling continues to maintain the existing setback.
Member Boyd.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. I have two questions. One, and it came when you were mentioning about the outbuildings, and if we're talking about allowing a variance on the coverage of the lot, but we don't know whether the outbuildings are included in this or not, is that relevant? That it's if the outbuildings are not included in the calculation, then the coverage is actually larger. The variance is actually larger than what we're talking. So I'm confused.
Yeah. So through you, Madam Chair, I believe I indicated that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, 90% sure I included it. I could go through my table here real quick and see here. Solo accessory lot coverage. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's included. So the lot coverage, existing lot coverage, which isn't changes, is 1.1%. So yes, it's included.
Okay, thank you. So therefore, the lot coverage won't be affected by the outbuildings, despite the fact that the outbuildings are going to be moved.
That's right, because it remains the same. It's part of total lot coverage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Through you. The second question, the setback from the shoreline. I understand that the Trent 7 waterway needs to approve and look at the stone wall that is now in front of the property. So the setback that is included in your report, is that from, when did you take that measurement? Was that from where the shoreline was original, or where we've been told it's been extended to? However it's been extended. So again, are we looking at accurate information? I guess the same question.
So with this particular application, Bruno is a professional engineer that asserts that he's provided accurate information as to the land title information for the property, and the site survey is in accordance with applicable survey standards. So it is, the setback is in accordance with the land holding. In accordance with what the applicant has provided.
Okay, but you haven't, or the township has not looked at where that setback is measured from the original or the extended shoreline.
So by the survey provided by the applicant, it hasn't changed. So the shoreline is measured from accurately from the title ownership at the shoreline.
Okay.
So there's been no change as shown on the survey provided by the applicant in where that lot limit is.
Any other questions? Seeing none. So I'm looking for a motion to approve the two applications before us today. Anyone? Moved by member Coolis, seconded by member Black, all in favor. That is carried. Thank you. We have no deferred matters. We have the minutes of April the 28th, 2026. Have someone approve those? Member Coolis and member Black, all in favor, that's carried, and motion to adjourn. Our next meeting is June 23rd. Member Black and member Henry, all in favor, that is carried. Thank you. Take a minute. Good afternoon. This council meeting for the Township of Selwyn for Tuesday, May the 26th, 2026 will come to order. We respectfully acknowledge that we are on the treaty and traditional territory of the Mississauga and Anishinaabe. We offer our gratitude to the First Peoples for their care for and teachings about our earth and our creation. Do we honor those teachings? Please observe a moment of silence of the council, staff, and members of the public who quietly reflect on our duty to the community that we are trying to serve. Members of the public, staff, presenters, and members of council, please be advised that meetings are broadcast and recorded and made available on the internet. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Seeing none, note that. We have our minutes of May the 12th. Can someone move them? Moved by Deputy Mayor Black, seconded by Councilor Coolidge, all in favor. That is carried. Is there any discussion out of the minutes? Seeing none, we will go on to our first deputation. We have a staff introduction for Ashley Webster. Robert, are you going to be speaking?
Yes, I am. There since I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Ashley Webster. She's taken on the role of administrative assistant to planning and bylaw. Ashley brings over 6 years municipal experience in marketing and communication and as executive assistants to mayor and council with her previous municipalities. Her experiences allowed her to efficiently step into her new role and make an immediate impact. And the building and planning team are excited to have her on our team and wish to extend her a warm welcome.
Welcome. Is there anything you'd like to say? Thank you. Look forward to working with you as well. We have a couple of minutes before our public meetings start. So, were there any questions that came in, Madam Clerk?
No questions.
Right. And this next thing that we're supposed to be talking about might take a few minutes because it's the road rationalization policy. So do we do it or not? We got 4 minutes. Can you do it that quickly, Adam?
I keep it short.
I know, but we have Doug here and who knows how long he'll. All right, go ahead, Adam.
Thanks, through you, Madam Mayor. As you recall, Central Road Rationalization Report of the November 25th council meeting, which really outlined 3 sections we were looking at, relevant for county or township transfers. Looking at Price Bay Road down on the 80, as well as Lily Lake Road, and third line at Fair.
Jake, bring that down on the.
Who are we competing with?
For the endorsement of the road rationalization report, we worked on the conditions of transfer that we're presenting today. Through an engineering assessment, condition assessment through the county and township, we looked at the existing conditions of the roads and future impacts of traffic on those streets. And based on the review of the existing subject road, and considerations, we looked at the eligible transfer of $620,000 to the county to offset the net difference in asset values on transfers. When we did the evaluation, we really looked at the estimated useful life of the roads and kind of expected that to be around the 7-year mark. So when we looked at the financial transfer of that, those sections, we looked at pushing that over a 7-year period as well. So what we're presenting would be $88,000, $571, $571.43 over the next 7 years to be established to transfer both roads. There would be legal and survey expenses for approximately $11,000 be incurred on the first payment transfer in 2027. Looked at operational challenges all that are located in those areas. We don't expect there to be any major impacts to operations. There will be a difference in maintenance standards in the township roads and county roads, specifically Maryland Drive. Price Bay Road is a higher class road than Maryland Drive, so the maintenance standards are higher on that section of road. But there will be a slight difference in service level to expect. Right? With that, asking what regarding Peterborough County transfer, road rationalization, implementation of transfer to receive the information, and that someone township staff advise Peterborough County that in course of the transfer of roads, I study the road and the necessary file will be brought forward to the future file for that transfer. The transfer to the county will fall, place the road, Granite Drive from White Bay Marina Road. Again, from Peterborough County to the Douglas South. At Fairway Street from the city limits, third line, Smith, from the township of Salmon to Peterborough County. And the third line from Fairway Street, County Road, Long Road, township of Salmon to Peterborough County. Finding Lily Lake Road, County Road, Highway 7, township of Salmon, Salmon. That, if there's any questions, you have to answer, and I know that is out mission. So down here as well.
Okay, before I pass it to council, to me, all this makes perfect sense from the efficiency standpoint. Right now, we have county plow and a township plow that are basically in the same area. And that does not make sense. It's better to just have one plow going through. And when you mention there's going to be a difference of service levels, I hope it's to the good, not the bad, for our residents that live down on Maryland Drive.
Through you, Madam Mayor, Maryland Drive is a low traffic road, right? So the service levels are actually, service requirements are a little less for minimum maintenance standards. So the county runs a 24/7 operation with a higher class road being on White Bay. So they were a higher level of service. So it actually be a lower level of service to be in Maryland just because our plows aren't as frequent as the county is required to with a higher class road.
Okay, because there's been complaints over the years of the way that road's plowed. And I took a testimony to Doug and his group, and now I'm gonna have to call you.
Through you, Madam Mayor, yeah, fair enough. And it wouldn't have anything to do with the way it's plowed. What I'm really referring is the frequency that it gets plowed.
Okay. Are there any questions? Councillor Coolus.
Through you, I had the same question. My follow-up to it is, how are we going to make residents aware of the changes? And I'm also going to encourage us reaching out to the bus companies because I know buses that are on that route already, they're already late.
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, and I apologize, I should have believed that. In the report, we do talk about either transfer, we're looking at July next year. So that really gets us through better operations and spring season as well. So we would have a campaign where we would notify residents through social media and work with the county to establish that communication protocol. The bus companies would be included in that as well. And really what we're looking at, the county maintaining the keeping Price Bay Road down to Price Bay Marina. And really, once you get past that hill, I mean, that is a higher class road, and that's really the trouble area. It's not necessarily Maryland Drive and the loop, it's all fairly level in there, it's really coming up that.
Other questions? Deputy Mayor Black.
Through your worship, thanks for the report. When we talked about this in the past, we kind of talked about it being revenue neutral. It's not revenue neutral, it's $620,000 difference in the township's going to have to provide the county to do this transaction. Whose accountant did the estimates on that? Is it ours? Or-
You, Madam Mayor, we worked with the county on those estimates. So they're based on condition assessments, based on historical costs for surface treatment or upgrading those roads and expected useful life of it. And if you do look at the kilometers that are being exchanged, I mean, it's favorable for the township. There's going to be more kilometers than there's a road being transferred to the county. So we did look at it being revenue neutral. However, we did go only make road into that kind of set something like that.
And I do understand that it's going to come from our OMFB grant. Get the acronym right? OMF grant, which comes from the province, which is fine. It's not going to affect our reserves in the township. So the most of that is that $620,000 relates to the upgrading of the road condition. That's the cost to get it. fair, equal standard.
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, that's correct, and it was a collaborative effort talking with the county to look at, when that timeline would be, right? To exchange $620,000 immediately when there's really, say 7 years of useful life remaining in the low condition. Didn't make sense, so we did extend it over, so hopefully that transfer would be complete before those upgrades are active.
Thank you.
Any other questions? You have to promise that you won't give these roads to the city. Because now that we have them, I might have had some say, but once they are with the county, that kind of gets negated a bit, so. Yeah. I didn't hear the promise. I didn't hear your promise. Anyway, so the recommendations before us. Move it, please. By Councillor Poulos, second by Councillor Boyko, all in favor. That is carried. Thank you. We will now go to our public meeting. If you want to leave, which I'm sure you do. All right. I will pass this on to our planner to announce the reason for this public meeting. Per.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Council of Township of Sullivan is holding a public meeting today in accordance with Section 34 of the Planning Act in order to consider 3 applications today for amendment from our zoning bylaw. The prescribed notice of public meeting was provided via prepaid first-class mail to all residents within a 120-meter radius of the property subject to the applications, as well as by a sign posted on the subject lands. The notice was also available on the township website. The notice circulation complies with the requirements of the Planning Act. If a person or public body would otherwise have the ability to appeal the decision of the Council of the Township of Selwyn, but does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of Selwyn in respect of the zoning bylaw amendment before the approval authority gives or refuses to give approval to the amendment, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Council of the Township of Sullivan in respect of the proposed amendment before the approval authority gives or refuses to give approval to the zoning bylaw amendment, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal, unless in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to do so. If you wish to be notified of the decision of the Township of Sullivan in respect of the proposed zoning bylaw amendments, you must make written request to the Township of Selwyn, providing your name and address or email address. Okay, so our first application today, let's see if I have these in order here. Yes, I do. So the first one is file number C06-26. It's for 1392 Island View Drive. This is an amendment specifically to permit a flat roof boathouse. It's previously been constructed. And there's also included within this interior side yard setback reduction for a boathouse from 5 meters to 1.5 meters. The boathouse has an area of about 400 square feet. We have comments from the Otonabee Region Conservation Authority stating that a permit will be required again as part of the building permit approval process, and engineering and construction. County of Peterborough has no concern, and Enbridge has submitted comments of no concern as well. We do have a letter of support from a neighbor, Jim Andrews. I find that the application is consistent with the provincial planning statement and conforms to the county and township official plan, and I recommend the zoning bylaw amendment for approval.
I understand, Madam Deputy Clerk, that the agent is in attendance, Vanessa Archer. Is there anything you would wish to add to our planner's report?
Through you to Madam Chair, Vanessa Archer, for the record, from TD Consulting as the applicant on the file on behalf of the owners. I don't really have anything additional to add. I do see that they have requested the rooftop deck be prohibited, and we are fine with that. There is no intention of using it that way. And we understand that the existing boathouse and the the existing boathouse as shown on the site plan that's to be demolished, as well as the existing boathouse that we're here for this meeting for the minor variance, both require permits from Orca, and we are already working with Orca and have been working with them prior to this minor variance to maintain and make sure that that meets their requirements to get those permits after. So I am here if there's any additional questions or concerns. Thank you.
All right, and is there anyone else here in favor of this application? Jim Andrews, are you in favor?
Absolutely in favor.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. Thank you. Is there anyone that is against this application? Madam Deputy Clerk?
There's no one else online for this application, Madam Chair.
All right. Are there any questions to this? Like to move it, please? Moved by Councillor Boyko, seconded by Councillor, Deputy Mayor Black. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Move on to the next application.
Thank you, Your Worship. Next application is for 1235 Gale Park Drive. This is Township File C07-26. In this particular case, the proposal is a temporary use bylaw to permit an existing dwelling to be utilized during the construction of a new dwelling. This is a little bit different. It's a application under both Section 34 and Section 39 of the Planning Act for temporary use bylaw. It has an expiry date of 3 years from the date of approval. So the dwelling will then have to be torn down after that period of time. The Otonabee Region Conservation Authority has I should just stipulate too, there's no zoning reliefs or bylaw amendments associated directly with the new dwelling at this time. We do have a concept plan that the council would have for a review. It complies with zoning. The Otonabee Region Conservation Authority has submitted comments of no concern, provided a permit is obtained as part of the building permit process. The Kawartha Pine Ridge District School Board has submitted comments of no concern, as well as County of Peterborough Engineering and Construction. Likewise, Enbridge provided comments of no concern. And Alderville First Nation has submitted comments recommending archaeological assessment. Linda Pryor, a neighbor in the neighborhood, has submitted comments in favor of the application. In this particular case, we did not request an archaeological assessment, given that the bylaw amendment pertains to an existing dwelling to be continued on the site. So there's no direct site alteration associated with maintaining that dwelling. I find that the application is consistent with the provincial planning statement and conforms to the county and township official plans, and I recommend the temporary use bylaw be approved.
Madam Deputy Clerk, I understand virtually we have the agent, Ken Curry, in attendance.
Here, yes.
Do you have anything you wish to add to the planner's report, Mr. Curry?
No, I think Pear's covered it pretty well. The whole point of it is, I mean, with rents. So.
And the other person in favor would be Linda Pryor. And okay, do you have anything you wish to add?
No, I think it's covered and I'm in favor of it.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone that has applied to speak against this application?
We do have John LeBlanc here as well, who
Okay.
wants to speak favor, but he might be having some issues with his computer, so just give me a moment. John, can you hear us? Okay, Madam Chair, you can proceed.
All right. Is there anyone that is against this application that has asked to be here virtually?
No one else is here for this application, Madam Chair.
I'll bring it to Council, are there any questions? If not, can I have someone move it? By Deputy Mayor Blah. Councillor Coors, all in favor? That is carried. On to the next application. There.
Thank you, Your Worship. So the last application for public meeting today is in regard to 2385 Northeast Road. This is in regard to a second dwelling unit for 2385 Northeast Road. The specific permission that's triggering the zoning amendment is they want to put a basement and also put the second unit in what technically is the front yard of the subject property, which are both not permitted as of right under zoning. So the zoning amendment includes a number of provisions. We're increasing the maximum permitted distance from the principal dwelling to the second unit from 30 meters to 98.3 meters, increasing the permitted area of the second unit from 60% to 72% of the footprint of the principal dwelling. Again, to cover the proposed size, which is 1,872 square feet. And also, like I said, it's permitting the second unit in the front yard, as well as a full basement for the second unit. I find, in terms of comments, we've received comments of no concern from the Otonabee Region Conservation Authority, the County of Peterborough Engineering and Construction, Enbridge, and the Kawartha Pine Ridge District School Board. I find that the application is consistent with the provincial planning statement and conforms to the county and township official plans, and therefore I recommend that the zoning bylaw amendment be approved.
Much. Madam Deputy Clerk, I understand that virtually we have the agent, Kevin Dugay. Kevin, do you have anything you would like to add to Pierre's report?
Your worship, at this point, no, I have reviewed the draft bylaw, and I've worked closely with Per throughout the process of the application. And I would like to thank Per for his timely service in this regard. I'm in support of the draft bylaw as presented, and I make myself available to Planning Committee in the event there are any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Madam Deputy Clerk, is there anyone that had registered to speak against this application?
We have no one else here.
All right, thank you. I'll bring it to council. Are there any questions with regards to this? Deputy Mayor Blah.
You, Your Worship. No, I think we've had a similar example in the past of this secondary suite, particularly with farm properties. I think our initial bylaw, but mostly city-sized property that would be in the rear yard all the time because it wouldn't be in the front yard typically. But another example of, I think, good utilization of the property and the placement of the secondary suite, I think, is appropriate. So we'll look forward to good time to change that. Hopefully, sorry, the zoning. Sorry, not zoning. Thank you.
All right, anybody else that would like to speak to this application? Seeing none, I look for someone to approve it or move it. Councillor Henry and Deputy Mayor Black, all in favor. That is carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Cool. We'll now go on to the George Street tender results. Adam.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. As council is aware, through the 2026 capital budget process, one of the major projects we had planned for this year was the rehabilitation of George Street, which included the urbanization of George Street, included the sewer mains and water mains along that stretch. Through the budget process, we became aware that we were successful for some funding for that project as well through Municipal Housing Infrastructure Program, and specifically the Health and Safety Water Stream program for that grant. Subsequently, in March of this year, we did tender out the project for its entirety. George Street from Fraser down to the end of George right at Tank. The tender results came back substantially over budget, so we did reduce the scope of the project. So what we're looking at right now is George Street from Clementi Street, including the intersection down to the pumping station at Hagg. So that tender closed. Our consultant DM Wills did a thorough review of the bids and made the recommendation that we award the contract to Young's Construction for a value of $1,065,287.37. The recommendation I have today would be to be awarded the tender to Young's Construction, be awarded tender to complete project for Dorsey Infrastructure upgrade based on the tender submission of the $1,065,270.70, excluding HST and contingency, and that the relevant bylaw be brought forward by a section of the agenda to authorize an agreement with Young's Construction or Dorsey. Is there any questions related to the project?
Questions? Okay. Actually, I have a question. Because of the cost, and we had to narrow it down, we also swallow. Just, I take it back. Go ahead, Councillor Boyko.
Well, my question won't be half as interesting as that. Yeah, there's only a handful of people who live on this short piece of street. When will they be informed and how will they be informed that this is going to take place?
Yeah, thanks. Through you, Madam Mayor, once we award the contract to Young's and get the paperwork signed, we'll work on a construction notice, which will be hand delivered. And there will be contact information and the district contract constructor, as well as contact information myself or Supervisor Anita, and discussions or questions or concerns they have with the project, they can direct them ourselves or the constructor.
Excellent, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I look for someone to recommendation. Deputy Mayor Clark. Certainly all in favor, that's very confused. We'll now move on to Brad Nerdman talking about the updated municipal emergency information. Right.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. As council will recall, this report was on the 2026 staff work plan. It's an update to the emergency information plan, which is an appendix to the township's municipal emergency response plan. Updates to the EIP have been made since January of this year, using current direction and best practices from Emergency Management Ontario, public feedback, and lessons learned from recent local and provincial emergencies. Specifically, updates included revised EIP activation protocols, roles and responsibilities, information management practices reflective of IMS 2.0, alignment of communication strategies with provincial standards and tailored, where possible, to feedback from the township populations, and training opportunities for staff with emergency information responsibilities. Council will note that there is a paragraph in the report that speaks to certain appendices and schedules under the EIP being deemed confidential. Those have not been included with the copy of the new EIP today, just because of relevant privacy legislation that affects those documents. And yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions the council may have.
Yeah. Question. Deputy Mayor Clark.
Your worship, thanks for the report. I've had the app on my phone for probably 6 months now, and I've mapped Peterborough and Peterborough County. So I think I'm getting alerts that came from the city of Peterborough survey, but I'm not sure if I'm actually getting any county. And I've got, and when the report came in, I added Selwyn, so I could add Selwyn to the alerts that I could get. So can you explain how that works? Like, I'm able to select areas that I want alerts from, but currently Selwyn's not really putting their own alerts in there. So from the report, Peterborough County is not either putting stuff in there at this point, right?
Through you, that's correct. So presently, locally, only the city of Peterborough and Lakeland Public Health use Alertable. It's a third-party platform that you have to pay a annual subscription to. Working with the county, they are looking to purchase a subscription, and through that, the township would have a sub-subscription or a partition. So presently, neither the county nor the township are pushing out alerts, but hopefully starting in 2027, we'll join.
Even though currently you can pick areas where you want alerts from, or even not getting, I'm only getting on Lake Time, which I knew about. That'd be well. Right, they pay a subscription, so. Okay,
Yeah, that-
I
that's
think it's definitely, been a good app. The alerts are appropriate and timely, and I think it will be good for everyone.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Salas. Thanks, Bryden, for this report. The province and the feds keep shifting the whole point. So thank you for this. I'm just curious though, the DEIO and our PIMs that we're going to be assigning here for public information and emergency information officers, how many will we have on staff and how will they be scheduled? So that is something like that.
Through you, it's a good question. So presently, the township's emergency management bylaw appoints only one EIO, so that's our communications and marketing coordinator. Just like myself, it's a role under our ERP, so technically we're on call 24/7, 365 when an incident happens. As you know, IMS is scalable, so depending on the scale of the response, if the EIO deems we have to activate a public information management section, then we'll assign staff to assist on those roles. And then just like any emergency, we'll have to develop schedules to ensure spanning control of the issue incident.
Thank you for that. With one EIO, then, is there an opportunity to build some depth within that, just in case, holidays, February?
Through, yes, typically you'd have alternates built into that. Presently, our clerk is the alternate EIO that fills that role. Just like everything with the upcoming changes in our senior leadership team, we'll have to explore that more in depth in the near future.
Thank you.
Your consent, I've been asked to pull A and B, but, oh, just A. Okay, just A, by Councillor Coulis. So can I get someone to move the balance of the consent and we'll come back to A. Moved by Councillor Boyko, seconded by Deputy Mayor Black, all in favor, that's carried. And we'll come back to 5A. Councillor Coulis.
I have a few housekeeping recommendations, but Mike, did you want to speak to the report first before I go through this? And for full transparency, I've chatted with Mike about these ahead of time, just for making them public.
Yes, through you, Councillor Coulis, through you, Madam Mayor. Is that how that goes?
To Councillor Coulis through Madam Mayor. Okay.
Yes, I'd like to do a couple minutes of just kind of reminding council of some of the parts of the policy, but also kind of what we do on a regular basis. When it comes to ICE schedule, for the last 11 years, we've had a meeting with all user groups. It used to be in July, but now that the hockey season has changed, orders are gone and tryout periods have changed. We now do that in June. In May, in June, we have the schedules out to everybody. In May, we have a meeting with all users, sit down, discuss, request their needs, wants, changes, all of that in advance, and then come with what last year's schedule will look like, what some of the possibilities are going to be if somebody has added a tournament, changed their numbers. Lakefield certainly 9 to 10 years ago went through quite a change in their overall numbers of teams, and so obviously that played into it, and that was happening prior to the policy. Dates, as I said, changed a little bit. It used to be July and June. Now it's June and May. But that's always happened. And there's been such a great spirit of cooperation, whether it's ladies leagues, men's leagues, Sunday, figure skating, skating club, minor hockey. It's always been a great group to work with. And, as you know, as any of them would know, we've been come the season reachable 24/7, whether it's to change times and to do that sort of stuff. Maybe it's to our fault, but certainly current admin, the previous admin, myself, do take calls every day about these sorts of things and work very well with the association. So with the policy, it was really important to make sure that some things got put down in case, you know, faces change, names change, all of that, all of those sorts of things. But it was, you know, it was certainly a collaborative effort again. It wasn't something that was just put in similar to Peterborough, where it wasn't a meeting, it wasn't, they did have open houses, they did have some town hall type of meetings, but they started from zero. The scorcher, everything, if you had a contract, it was gone. I know you guys are very much aware that that's not what we chose to do in the pilot policy or in practice. Practice legacy had always been the first and foremost, whether regardless of age, regardless of gender. It was, what did you have previous years? How do we work within that schedule to then create an ongoing contract ice schedule, which generally has the same times for each association to then do scheduling, because we schedule nothing when it comes to the association. So that's really important to remember. We have no influence. It wouldn't matter who we have on staff. It wouldn't matter if I was the president of one. We don't do schedule. We give each association X number of hours based on legacy, based on the numbers they have, based on whatever policy is in place. And then they schedule. They might schedule younger groups at 10 o'clock at night because a coach wants that. They might have a 3 o'clock practice. That's entirely up to each association, male, female, adult, youth, to do their scheduling. We give them the block of time based on, in this case, some policy directions, but always it's been on legacy, working together, because let's say something like the skate club, it doesn't work well with their classes to give up weekends, even though there might be a tournament. So on a Saturday, there will be still skate club lesson in there so that they can make sure that they cover everything off. Whereas hockey day and EGHA, they might want the whole Saturday, or Sunday night men's in Ennismore might want the whole Saturday. Well, everybody accommodates that. Everybody meets on that. And then once their contract ice is all said and done in October, they get a contract which includes all of that. And then they have to abide by that based on longstanding contract ice. We expanded it a little bit a few years ago when they got rid of NHL style playoffs and could reasonably use it till the middle of March. But other than that, it's been largely in place for decades and long before I got here, but certainly very much in the last 11 years. That's how we've done it every single planning session, so that it is very, very collaborative. And even when the policy as a pilot went in place, 1 hour of adult time got moved one day. Everything else was agreed upon. Everything else we were able to sit down and work out. So 9 o'clock on a Monday got moved to 10 o'clock on a Wednesday. That's literally all the change in the adult use category. Any other changes would have been because of either dropped numbers, being able to pick up 7 o'clock times, which don't fall specifically in the primetime ice time. We make a reference to trying to use it, but it's not primetime ice. We also did the same with 4 o'clock and throughout the day, throughout the week. We're always going to try and maximize that ice time and try and keep the buildings as efficient and as low in our deficit as we can, while making sure that the groups that have been in the facilities for decades are continuously well served.
Agree, and I'm sorry I got up, I had a cough. But I just got some water. Thank you. As we've been going through this process, like that history has been there and it's kind of actually come forward more for not just talking with you, but chatting with the individuals involved in the process. So I've learned a lot. It's helped me better understand the process and better for the review that I'm like the suggestions I'm going to go forward here for the recommendations for updates before we approve or yeah, I'm sorry. So the first one is under purpose. I'm just a little bit worrisome about the word accommodating. More so this is my accessibility background. We're not referencing the Ontario Human Rights Code or the AODA. And so I just want to remove that word. And my understanding of this is that when we were chatting with folks, we had a delegation, they were looking to be accommodated. And it was for youth, and realistically, you've already had the majority of the time slots anyway, so they didn't need to be accommodated. And I think if you just remove that word, it still covers, we're going to be responsive to diverse communities. My suggestion is to remove accommodate. Do you want me to like make a list or?
To do that, all right, is there a seconder? Councilor Boyko. Question. On favor?
So I have 7. Do we want to?
No, and
Okay, I just don't know if we want to do individual. So the second one under definitions, again, it's minor. I just don't want us to get any hot water and having debate and waste staff time over minor words here. Under objectives, definitions. Both in the objectives and the definitions. For access and equity, we have ensure fair and equitable access. I mean, fairness is in the definition of equitable, so I'm just suggesting we remove fair. Again, just minor, but it's, so we don't have to have those back and forth with folks.
okay, removing fair, seconder. No, she
No,
just
just fair.
says fair. So it would be ensure equitable access. Yeah, well, fair, sure, yeah. Okay, so that's moved. Black, all in favor. It's carried.
Under procedures, 1D, I'm wondering if we can put an approximate date for the annual ICE meeting. We give specific dates elsewhere. I know this can be a window, but I think just anybody who may be new to the process, not necessarily that they can fit in, but anybody who has those questions is more clear for them.
Sorry, can you?
Yeah,
Which one are you on? Okay.
Under procedures,
with
it's
what number?
1D.
So it says annualized payments.
I'm just suggesting we put an approximate date in.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I think that it's actually a very good idea. If we said something like mid to late May, then we know we can hit that 2-window week and still give 2 weeks because they always get their schedules by 15th so that they can do the scheduling. So yeah, mid to late May. The recommendation will be.
Right, so added. A second by Councilor Boyko, all in favor. Carried.
So 1E, it's right below that. It's the same thing, asking if we can have an approximate date in there. It says, when are the facility ICE rentals due specifically? So they asked for the ICE schedule to be in by June 15th, but I'm just wondering for more clarity in doing the process, if there's a window.
Mike.
Yeah, I may have to sort through you, Madam Mayor. I may have to talk to my staff just to see what the window would be, but yes, we can absolutely do something that might, is have to be after the 15th of June, obviously. But if we said something, I'm trying to think of.
Prior to the start of.
You could say, yeah, prior to the start of, because
the season.
Contract ice always starts October, whereas the season will start as early as September. Okay,
so adding prior to the start of the season.
Sure.
After a sign of facility rental agreement. Okay, fine. Okay, so that's moved by Mary, seconded by Deputy Mayor Black, all in favor. Very next.
Under procedures, I have a request, so under procedures, we have the, number
Not
two,
numbered, sorry.
Yeah,
I-
it's-
I can probably, I know a little better. It's under definitions.
well, under you're right, sorry, going back there. So we're, under definitions, I skipped it. So under definitions, we currently have the minor sports organizations listed. We talked about this previously, and I'm asking for under the seasonal clients that we list the adult groups as well, just so we have them in there and they're aligned to their legacy status.
Under seasonal clients, add adult, what's this? I do that.
But we don't list them. So it doesn't make sense why we list the minors, but not the others. Who are currently scheduled.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I would recommend that we get rid of the adult hockey, the bracketed part. And we absolutely can say the Ennismore Kings, and we could say Bridge North Classics and Sunday Night Bands. Wakefield Ladies, so we absolutely know who all our clients are. And since all of our primetime lights is sold, it's not like it is those ones. That's what we're doing. So, yep, absolutely. Let's do.
To clarify there too, there are specific people running those, so you don't want their name there, you want those associations so that there can be legacy with them and the group remain.
Okay, so moving that to add a list of the users that are included in the adult group.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Recommended, this is exactly the same as the previous page where it says minor sports user groups and list them all alphabetically. Again, once it's separate those, we will list them out, but
So that's moved by Councillor Koulis, seconded by Deputy Black, all in favor. That's carried. Thank you.
So jumping back to the procedures. Yeah, procedures under number 5. I'm just suggesting for transparency from an information administrative point that we have the contact info, the generic recreation at selwyntownship.ca, just to ensure that everybody is emailing the right person. We've had folks talk to us, say, oh, I've emailed so-and-so and then they never got back to me, or so just clarity in the procedure that aligns with the letters that go out, like who you're gonna contact to ensure that we have just for number 5.
yeah, sorry, through you, Madam Mayor, number 5 refers to that. Number 7 says who, sorry, number. The 7 says it must take place with the services admin assistant. If we're gonna add an email address, I think that's what we should. Or we could put it in both. It's one little short line, and it for sake of clarity and for sake of be certain. And it would be recreation at, which is a shared email address that sends to me, sends to a lot.
I'm happy with either, just as long as it's in there somewhere in there that reference one of the lines. But
Seconded by Councillor Koulis to add clarity with regards to contact information. Seconded by Councillor Boyko, all in favor. Carried.
And then this is not necessarily a recommendation, it's just a comment. We've discussed it. It's already technically in the procedures. It's just not written down here. We've had comments, people saying, well, how will they be under number 8, sorry, under procedures number 8. It's noted that housekeeping amendments, this policy will be made, may be updated from time to time to reflect housekeeping or administrative amendments as approved by resolution council. We've had a few people ask, like, how are they going to be made aware? So Mike and I chatted, and my understanding is that anytime something like this is going to come forward, they will let all users know directly via email. But this is coming up on the agenda. And they can have it this.
Through you, Madam Mayor, depending on the time of year, it would certainly be, we meet with them annually, twice. So it would, yes, communication would go out, we would probably time it with when one of those things would happen just before the season, so we're doing, or at the end of the season, when we sit down with them again to plan for next season. But absolutely, as with this, they received a draft before we met in April. They follow up with some of the recommended changes. and they will get this as soon as it's approved by council.
Thank you. Yeah, I have nothing to add there. I just wanted to let you guys know that we had that conversation. Those are embedded in processes already, but just I assume others may have had.
Okay, fine.
But thank you.
Good
for-
work there, Councillor Cool. So, we now need to approve the amended draft of the ice allocation policy. So I need to move it. Councillor Henry, moving. Mayor, what? Deputy Mayor Black. All in favor? That, very good. All right. On to other new and unfinished business. Is there anything that any council has? Regards to that, Councillor Henry?
Thank you, through you, Mayor Senis. I will put motion forward now that we do not build another arena or a pickleball court, so we don't have to do ice allocation or pickleball court allocation. More seriously, though, the service station, abandoned service station across from, on Lake Road, there, I think.
Roca Station.
I think you just dated yourself with that, okay? But yeah, so it was a snow station. The barriers are knocked down. Stop though behind it. Also, I'm just wondering with, we did put, our support behind, finding information from the county regarding County Road 1.
So sorry, just through you, Madam Chair, your first comment, you're just making us aware that there's some debris around that location. Well, I'll note that. I did see the material, so I'll let Chris know. And yes, County Road 1. I haven't had any other feedback from the county. I'm not sure, Mayor Senis, if you have, yeah.
I think we have a transportation plan. Definitely ask for that, yeah. Just because we're having more accidents there. 4-vehicle one recently. The Shamong, actually Fowler's Corner District Lions Club is coming forward now, putting in their support. Concerned about it. I don't know how we got it with this long, though. I don't know. Who do we show? Like, I have to wait for the coroner or something. We already have numerous accident reports in the coroner. Sending lots of emails, big group of people supporting it, and local people, business people, community groups. Everyone's behind it. The OPP County attachment board's behind it now.
It would be a good idea for you to broach the subject when you've got the right people. That's not why they're there.
Excuse me, Madam Chair. I think it's Wednesday. If you're talking about the Public Information Center. Yes, sorry, just want to make sure you're going to the right meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll give them my opinion regardless where the meeting is. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Black.
For your worship, I just wonder whether it's worth a quick letter from the township to go to the county to ask them for an update and the timing of their report. It might be appropriate. I'll move that. If they wish.
Seconding. Okay, all in favor? Carried. Any other new or unfinished business? If not, then clerk, can we please read the bylaws?
Yes, sorry, 49 is the zoning bylaw amendment for 1392 Island View Drive. 50 is a zoning bylaw amendment for 1235 Gale Park Drive. 51 is another zoning bylaw amendment for 2385 Northeast Road. 52 is a bylaw to adopt the amended ice allocation policy. And 53 is an authorizing bylaw to execute an agreement for the George Street infrastructure upgrades with Young's Construction.
Bylaws. Sir Henry's. Boycott all in favor, that's carried. Motion may be closed. Counselor Boyko, Deputy Mayor Black, all in favor, that's carried.